The magic number is 15 creatives. People underestimate the value of creative. So if you're an advertiser who are running less than 15 creatives, let's say like 5 or 10, 100% recommended kind of like to run this test with more creative and just like see the impact and performance.
Welcome back, guys. Welcome to Have You Heard, special edition of Have You Heard, the podcast around social media. I'm joined by the wonderful Jacob.
Hello, I'm Jacob.
And our special guest for the day, Mo.
Hello, hello.
And Mo has joined us from Meta. So Mo is our Meta agency partner rep. So Mo, do you want to give yourself a bit of an intro?
Yes, sure. So welcome, everyone. My name is Mahmoud. I go with Mo. I'm an agency partner in Meta. Been in my role for the last 2 years and a half. My role is basically look after the independent agencies based in London, look after the strategic relationship between Meta and these agencies, understand the business goals, the objectives, the challenges that they might have with the platform. And based on that, we create together a partnership plan with some strategies and some success metrics that we will aim for. So this is, in a nutshell, what is my role all about.
Amazing. Lovely stuff. Well, lovely to have you on the podcast.
I'm super excited, super hyped. Yeah,
it's great to have you. And your first podcast as well?
Like hashtag no pressure with all the likes and stuff. Like I'm feeling like,
no pressure at all. Cool. So we've been working with you for around a year now?
Around a year, yes.
Yeah. And obviously there's been lots of things going on in the world of social media over the last year.
It's been a journey.
It has indeed. But I think one of the main things, which is what we're talking about today, has obviously been the introduction of ASC, which has kind of been a big product that Meta have brought out.
Was it June last year? I think it was like an early birthday gift for me with Meta.
I would like to say we're kind of getting closer to 2 years now.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. For anyone who doesn't know what ASC is, can you just give us a little bit?
It's just basically it's our hero product that we're relying on automation with cookie deprecation and all the interesting stuff that we're hearing in terms of especially after the deprecation of iOS 14 and all the loss of signal. So this is our hero product that we rely on AI. Yeah. So, and also in this product, we are implementing our best practice that we always recommend for in terms of account simplification, automation. So it's just like one campaign that you create that runs after new and existing clients as well. And definitely its main objective and it's optimized for conversions.
And it's working great.
And it's great. I mean, we absolutely love it. We love working with it. It's been a great addition into the kind of mix of types of campaigns that we work with across all of the activity on Meta.
Music to my ears. Yeah.
If you know the inventor, please say some things.
Yeah.
But obviously the main focus of ASC campaigns, which I know kind of many of the listeners will have probably heard us talking about before, is this e-commerce focus, trying to get 100%. People onto site to try and convert. Yeah. Obviously we've had lots of success with ASC over the last year, but I think one of the things and the next steps for us to kind of take with ASC is how do we get incrementality by using 100%. Advantage Plus shopping campaigns. So one of the main focuses that we've got as an agency at the moment that we've been working with you on, Mo,
testing
is around testing.
Yes,
exactly. Yeah. So we had a big focus on testing, but I think particularly over the last 6 months across the agency. I think we're going to chat through some tests that we can run or have been running across the agency.
Yeah,
what the kind of purpose of those are and how we think that those can gain, I guess, incrementality. Jacob, do you want to kick off with the first one? Because I know you've kind of run a couple of these already for your 100%. Clients.
I think the first one sort of nicely ties into the most recent discussion that we had with Google, trying to recognize sort of the width or the breadth of the product offering. And then ASC would most of advertisers would do, they would just chuck all dynamic carousels, all creative into one. And then what Meta and Mo has been most recently offering to us is testing splitting out products by price levels effectively, right?
Yes. So this is a very interesting one, and this is basically a test where we're separating ASC campaigns of products with diverse range of prices. And the rationale behind this test that we might have advertisers with numerous number of products and their prices ranges from anything from $1 to $1,000. Yeah. So we've seen that these advertisers are putting all their campaign or all their catalog in one ASC campaign, all their creatives in one ASC campaign. However, with this test, the hypothesis that we have, that we are saying that if you have a wide number of products with various number of prices, like different prices, what we can do, that we can split your ASC campaign.
Yeah.
So like one ASC campaign can target the audience with the products that have like slightly cheaper products.
Yeah.
Another ASC campaign for the more expensive products. And the rationale behind that is just we tailor the creatives for the cheaper products, and we tailor the creatives as well.
Such a great point, 100%.
Yes, exactly. So the rationale behind tailoring the creatives, that we would like to make sure that when people are seeing the ads, that they're interacting with these ads, they can relate to these ads. So that will impact positively on the performance. So when we're talking about cheaper CPCs or cheaper CPAs or lower CPAs, also as well, like increase in ROS. So this is the whole rationale about running this test.
I think it plays nicely to the most recent discussion that we had about, where PMAX campaigns can be segmented out the same way. AIC can also be segmented out the same way. And as Mo has said, you can benefit from lower CPCs for lower products, which is effectively what you want for your product, because you can actively actually pay less for a lower average order value.
Also as well, like it's a very applicable test, especially if you are an advertiser who have specific, for example, CPAs for lower products.
Great point.
And also as well, like if you would like to prioritize like putting more budget for the more expensive products. So this would be like an ideal test for you. However, if you're an advertiser who don't really care about like specific CPAs, and like maybe you have blended CPAs, maybe in this case you can keep business as usual and put all your have only one ASC campaign with all your products in it.
I think it's such a great one as well. You had a discussion a couple of weeks back with Adam about embracing AI and embracing algorithm. I think what Mo has effectively showed us is how you can still use the same tools, but you're tweaking it at a level, both with comms, where you can tweak your creative, tweak your messaging. Your high average order value ASC can be more luxury in creative production, or more luxury in tone of voice, which is very, very nice. I mean, it shows that even though sometimes it is a bit of black boxy, you can still do a lot with either you yourself internally or with your agency.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's always down to that segmentation piece to give yourself that bit of extra control over where you can push budget.
Segmentation and tailor the creative.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, one thing that we discussed recently, and we actually run the test internally, is I think it plays nicely to the point that you made early into the consideration for the test as discussed. Again, advertiser will tend to flow all the creative into one ASC. But we have seen that ourselves, and we ask ourselves that question, whether actually a mixed approach is better, or maybe just a curator's creative in one ASC are better, or maybe just dynamic carousels or dynamic or storefronts or lookbooks are best to run just one ASC. So that is also one of your promoted tests, which I think would be good to highlight.
Yes, exactly. So this is actually a very important test because it focuses on a very important topic, which is creative. I'm surprised about sometimes people underestimate the value of creative. However, the auction outcome, that the percentage of auction outcome that can be attributed to creative is massive. Would you like to guess a number?
Whoa. I've got to say, 75%?
Let's keep it safer, 70%.
Oh, well, it's slightly lower.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's 56%, which is
still a lot. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So I think this test focus on two main things. On number one, creative diversification, and the importance of creative diversification, and also as well how you can just combat, or how can you avoid creative fatigue, which is also an important discussion that we always have with advertisers in terms of how you can find a sweet spot between creative diversification and avoiding creative fatigue. And from a best practice perspective, what we always see that mixed creative works better than having your single images or your single catalog ads. And this is the rationale behind the test, that with, again, linking it to what we've been saying last minute, 2 minutes ago, that the creative diversification will help when it comes to sending the relevant message to the audience. And this is the whole purpose of the test, that the more your mixed creative is, that the better it will impact the performance in terms of, as well, like the metrics that we've said, in terms of like cheaper CPCs or like CPAs, or also as well like increase in RS. And actually we have like a sort of like meta-analysis that proved that the mixed creative piece drive cheaper cost per purchases,
exactly,
and
what
like
happened to
drive
us.
better performance. So this is the hypothesis of running the test.
Yeah, so we ran the test internally, and then 100% it aligned with your internal findings. Although we still invite advertisers to still run their own tests and find out themselves whether this is business specific or industry specific, or industry wide in that sense.
I think the main thing is, though, it's not like a one size fits all. I think particularly when you get down to that level of kind of granularity of creative testing, because one client's product feed might be better than another client's product
100%.
feed, and obviously adding all of those different elements into the fray is gonna.
And this is the whole purpose of testing, that we just like, we do not say it's guaranteed that you will get these results. We just like design the test with that specific hypothesis that we think that this is might work best for you. However, like the advertiser will need to test this by themselves to kind of confirm that these proof points are correct.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then I think building on that as well, which was also crucial for us for the test when we run it. So obviously the mixed creative ASC would potentially have more creatives than the dynamic creative ASC and curated creative ASC separate to that. So a follow-up question and a very well recommended test that you pitched to us, I guess, is a question of whether ASC that has more creative will perform better than an ASC that's limited, I guess, in creative inventory.
Exactly. So there is a magic number after we've run a number of tests for mixed creative, and for some reason the magic number is 15 creatives. Okay. So I know that like when ASC just launched, it can take up to 150 creatives. Unfortunately, still we didn't see a lot of advertisers that like are putting 150 creatives. But
150, did you say?
150, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. But for right now, 15 is the number of creatives that we've seen that like it's been performing better. Mm-hmm. So if you're an advertiser who are running less than 15 creatives, let's say like 5 or 10, and this is your business as usual, 100% recommended kind of like to run this test with more creative and just like see the impact and performance, again with the hypothesis that with more creative, the more personalized the message will have, like the better performance that you will see.
Do you think you need more budget to spend against like bigger number of creatives than all?
So it's a good question, and definitely like the more budget the better when it comes to like bidding. However, right now I know that sometimes a pushback that we hear that, for example, for advertisers or like agents who don't have a creative arm, that okay, we do not have the resources. And this is something that a discussion that we are having with advertisers and agents, that they don't have these advanced creative capabilities, that right now Meta provides some free tools that kind of help you with creating different assets. They do not have to be something super fancy. It's just like the habit of adopting these creatives, and especially with placements. Something, for example, when Reels once launched, like when we launched Reels, people were like under the impression that it should be like super posh and like super fancy. However, it was just like what we were recommending, just select the Reels placement regardless, like you're creative. Just like tick this box, and then once you tick this box, we can talk into details about the creative best practices and all that stuff.
Nice. So obviously we've covered off kind of like really good level of like creative level testing within ASC, but I guess from like a more structural maybe standpoint, I think kind of lending yourselves more towards your business objectives as well, specific to individual businesses. And this is a really interesting test as well to try and kind of lend itself to kind of push towards those more business objectives, is the bid modifiers test.
Bid multipliers.
Multipliers.
Yes.
Multipliers test. Yeah.
I would just explain what bid multipliers.
Yes, it can be like a bit of a scary topic for some people. However, we're trying to explain it in a very simple way. Bid multipliers are basically an additional layer of first-party data that you are feeding to the delivery system to optimize for higher LTV clients. And this first-party data, like, not necessarily kind of like Meta have access on, and this is why we are leveraging the strength of first-party data and the power of machine learning, feeding this first-party data to the machine learning and running your campaigns. So there are multiple bid multipliers that are available. I think over 16 bid multipliers at the moment. But the most common ones that we've seen, for example, for location, and this is used a lot in the US. So, for example, if you would like to bid more on the East Coast versus like the West Coast, because you have more stores in the East Coast.
Right.
Or, for example, when it comes to placements. So, for example, your product, you would like to target younger audience with your product. So you would like to bid more on Reels placement versus Facebook placements. Also, as well, there is like a device. So, for example, there is like better performance on iOS devices versus Android devices. So you can bid more on the iOS users. So it's can sound slightly technical, which is a bit slightly technical. So to have access on bid multiplier, either an agency or advertiser will need like a slight help of the developer team that they have in the agency or in the client on the client. And then once you have access on bid multipliers, the test that we recommend is that, for example, if you're running your BAU, regardless it's like ASC or like other like non-ASC campaigns, but it can actually bid multipliers you can run bid multipliers with ASC. Right. So for example, you can run ASC campaign only plus or like versus ASC with the addition of bid multipliers with the hypothesis of bid multipliers and ASC will perform better than your ASC, thanks to this first-party data that you're feeding to the AI machine learning.
Yeah, 100%. So crucial, especially like first-party data are going to be such a massive
100%
subject this year.
Yes.
Obviously with the cookie plans.
Yes.
And the cookie-less future.
Yeah, 100%.
Nearly upon us. Yeah. And that leaves us with the number 5 out of the top 5, which I think is the creme de la creme, absolutely the most interesting one.
Yes.
Out of those 5, we have been such a head scratcher. So obviously, ASC is at the forefront of automation.
100%.
Automation. On a platform. The purpose of it isn't all catching a campaign. Meta has very kindly introduced bid multipliers, creative tests, all that stuff to help us tweak the approach with ASC towards the business objectives. So one more thing that Meta has added in is the audience cap. So in the account, we are able to identify existing audiences. We can set existing audiences as page visitors or maybe some first-party data that we have in the account, or create a custom audience, a niche custom audience.
Yes.
And then set cap, which effectively means limit ASC reach and then exclude that audience from it. That's such an interesting.
That's like the history of ASC. It's like the progress of ASC. Yes. So this is the rationale about having the cap. And just like to give context, we've seen a lot of advertisers who are keen to test ASC, but they wanted to have like more control on their campaigns. That's why we've introduced the cap budget on existing clients. So for example, an advertiser can say, right, okay, I have X dollars of like, this is my budget. I would like to, I don't want to allocate more than 30% to target existing clients, and like the rest of the budget, I would like targeted for like new clients and incremental sales. It's a very interesting test because you can take it from two different aspects. If we're just like talking purely best practices, or if we definitely thinking about the primary customer objectives. So if we are talking purely best practices, we give the feature or like the tool is there kind of like to put the cap. However, it's not something that we recommend to be using the whole time. And the rationale behind this, as you've mentioned, ASC is automation, is just like going broad, is just trusting the AI machine learning, is trusting the delivery system. And the moment you start putting more control on ASC campaigns, this is when it might hurt the performance a bit. However, the second part comes in when it comes to like the customer objective. We know that some customers have very specific business goals, that incremental sales is like first primary objective, secondary objective. This is like we're breathing like incremental sales, or like running after new clients. This is our primary objective. Maybe targeting existing clients is not as important for them. So this is when we're like, right, okay, implementing the cap might be applicable, or like you can leverage the cap, the budget cap on existing clients. This can be applicable. However, if you are an advertiser or a client that you do not feel like you're not in this budget and you're not in this criteria where you're actually targeting both existing and new clients, and you are placing the cap on the for existing clients, this is when we are trying kind of like to run this test where like, okay, you're running your business as usual, but you can run a campaign, an ASC campaign, without having this cap on the existing client's budget. And then the rationale is that the second sell will be winning because you're giving the freedom for ASC kind of like to do its magic. You're trusting them, the AI machine learning, and it should get, or like it should deliver like better results.
Yeah, I get it. You know, from our perspective and from the agency perspective, we have been wondering about that effect of the cap.
Yes.
For I guess, not even from a comparison of ASC with a cap and an ASC without a cap, but to how it plays out with the wider setup of the account, which is what I think we're still sort of discussing, scratching our heads about here internally. We appreciate the power of algorithm, and we appreciate how ASC has, you know, positively impacted the whole setup. I think the intricacy of the remarketing or existing customer, both messaging and performance, is quite hard to sort of grasp there. That's why we incentivize, I guess, testing in that area, and this is why the testing in that area is specifically, especially important.
It's a famous test, and there was a lot of tests being run on this category. And actually, we've seen that, like in a recent study, clients who did not use a cap seen better results and lower cost per purchases by 5%. So definitely, that's why this is the rationale behind recommending this test and running this test.
Yeah, makes sense, 100%.
Amazing stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's, you know, we've been doing so much testing as an agency up until this point now, but I guess for like the roadmap going forward, we have a lot more testing to do. I think working with the clients and obviously working really closely with you, Mo, to get these tests implemented to see what areas we can gain incrementality. And I think because ASC is obviously a relatively new product, it's all learning about how it really works and how we can get the best out of it.
It's all about testing. Remember how many tests an advertiser should run like per year?
It's 15.
15. This is the recommendation.
Yeah.
Yes. Perfect.
There's 30% gain waiting for you if you do 15 tests in 12 months. That's
15 tests, like an average running 15 tests per year. On average, you can get 30% better performance versus advertisers who are not running any tests.
Best advertisement for testing.
So testing. Yeah.
Amazing stuff. Well, thank you everyone very much for listening to this episode of Have You Heard? We are pleased to announce that our podcasts with Mo are going to be on a quarterly basis. So please stay tuned for when those come out. But again, thank you very much for listening. Make sure you like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys soon. Thanks very much.
Thank you all.
Thanks, guys.
Bye-bye.